Hey, I'm Lauren. This is Bizarre Gardening Accident, and today I am talking about the Futurism palettes from Kaleidos. There are now 6 of them. I only have 1, 2, and 3. You would think the next ones would be 4, 5, and 6, but they're not. They're 5, 6, and 7. I don't know what happened to 4, but I only have the first 3. So I'm doing 1 look a piece with each of those palettes. This is the 3rd look with Futurism 3, which is Astro Pink. So yeah, if you want to see all of those eye looks, then you are in the right place. I want to start by talking a little bit about the palettes first of all. They are $24 a piece, or you can get a bundle of 3 for $59, which gives you a few bucks off of each palette if you want to buy a bundle. They will also let you bundle all 6 of them for $119, which ends up being $25 off total. So, $4 or $5 off per pallet. So definitely you do get a bit of a discount if you want to buy all of them. I can speak to the quality of 5, 6, and 7 because I don't have those. I only have 1, 2, and 3, but I love 1, 2, and 3. I really like all of these palettes. I do have a couple of bugbears with, shades in the palettes or whatever, but you'll see that as we get into the eye looks. So yeah, if you would like to see me play with these eyeshadow palettes, just stick around. We're gonna start with the Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green palette. This is the Futurism 1 palette, and I am going to use my Sigma E40 and the shade Radioactive, and I'm gonna run that all through my crease. My plan today, I believe, is a sort of unstructured halo eye type thing. I find that my eye shape doesn't super lend itself to halo eyes the way that they're typically done. Definitely, I don't like to use concealer to kind of like carve out a space for that. So I call it an unstructured halo eye. By the way, my most faithful companion is keeping me company down here, so if you can hear what sounds like dog sniffing, it is dog sniffing. He's sitting down here at my feet, just like sniffing the carpet. So Radioactive all through the crease. This is an interesting color. It's sort of a brown, sort of a yellow. It's a good color. I like it a lot. So I'm just kind of laying down a base here, and we're gonna build from here. Right. Now I am going to take Smog, which honestly, there doesn't seem to be a huge, maybe there's more difference on the eye, a huge difference in these 2 green matte shades, which is not surprising to me. I've used this palette before, so that's not a surprise. I would quibble with the necessity of both of these green shades in here because they're just so similar. Everything is blending super well though. I like the way that these colors are layering. That's always a test for me, is can you take one color shadow and put another color shadow over it. I'm gonna go back in with my Sigma E40 and just kind of blend this edge up here. I realized that the Radioactive shade, which is the first one that we went in with, wasn't going as high on my eye as I would like it to. All right, back in with Smog. These are pretty powdery. There's a lot of kick up in the pan, but that's not something that ever really bothers me about an eyeshadow. But I did want to make you aware of it if it does bother you. All right, so maybe I do see the necessity for both of these greens because I definitely want to deepen this up, so I'm using ET to do that. Yeah, I think ET is just a hair deeper. I don't know, you probably didn't need both of them in this palette, I don't think. Adding color and then blending it out again. I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more Radioactive. That's just kind of my process, is add color, blend it, intensify. I think I said this a lot the last time I was doing an eye look, but that's how I do it. All right, now I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to take the shade Glamora, which is adorable because obviously Gamora is green. And I'm going to pat this all over my lid. That is a pretty damn intense lime green. That's really pretty. All right, now I'm going to take this, this is a Smith 230 and it's what I've been using with the green shades, and I'm just going to kind of make sure that this shimmer is blended into this matte as much as I can. Because of my eye shape, which is deep set, my mobile lid will always kind of touch my brow, so I really kind of have to go in and make sure that there's plenty of blending happening because I'm gonna have a certain amount of transfer no matter what. Okay, now that I look at this, this may not work the way that I thought it would because these two colors appear to actually be of the same depth rather than the green being a bit darker than the gold, but we'll try it anyway. I'm gonna take my middle finger because my ring finger's got green on it, and I'm gonna take this gold shade, which is Nuclear, and I'm gonna pat that just in the center of the lid. And then I'm gonna go back with my ring finger in the green shade. Yeah, this is what I meant by unstructured halo eye. I am just patting what I thought was a lighter shade in the center. I'm going back in with a little bit more ET to blend out these shimmers into my crease. Yeah, the gold doesn't really show up on the green, which is not a fault of the shadow, it's just that they're the same depth, so it's kind of difficult to get them to appear different because they are the same value. All right, so take my original E40 and still just blend out this little edge here with the shade Radioactive. All right, so I think I'm happy with the top lid. Okay, so now we are gonna work on the bottom lid, and we are gonna do just essentially the same thing that we did on the top lid. I'm gonna take this little tapered blending brush and I'm gonna take the shade ET, and I'm gonna run that along my lower lash line, but only for about the first 2/3 of my eye. I'm not gonna go all the way in, I'm only gonna go to about right here. Get my little hand mirror and see close up here. Yeah, I've had no fallout, so I find that pretty impressive. Okay, now I'm gonna take Radioactive again and just blend out this edge down here. Yeah, Radioactive is a really interesting shade. It's kind of like right in between brown and mustard yellow. It's not a shade I see done very often. All right, I'm just buffing some more with no additional product on this little tapered blending brush. Okay, so I am happy with where that is. I'm going to do my other eye, put on mascara and lashes and a lip product. I've already got all of my base products down, so I'm not gonna be adding anything else, just a lip product and finishing off the eye, and then I'll be right back with the final look, so see ya in a second. This is the final look with the Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Green palette from Kaleidos Makeup. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I'm also really pleased with how the shadows performed. I do think that there is an extra green shade in that palette that's really not necessary because it's so similar to the one next to it. There are just two olive green matte shades that are just not different enough on the eyes to justify having them both in the palette, I don't think, but they did perform really well. I had virtually no fallout. The fallout that I did have was from the shimmer shades, and I didn't notice it until after I had done everything and I was like going to put lashes on. So I'm really super pleased with the performance of the palette. I like these palettes a lot, and I like this green one a lot. I paired it with L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Liquid Lipstick in Shakedown. I think this makes kind of a really nice fall look. All of these things, like the yellows and the green, the yellows fading into the greens, kind of reminds me of, you know, leaves on trees. So it's very this time of year appropriate. So yeah, this is the look with Sci-Fi Green. Next I will be doing, what's it called? Cyber Bronze. I'll be doing a look with Cyber Bronze. So stick around for that. We are ready for look number 2 with the Kaleidos Futurism 2 palette in Cyber Bronze. I'm going to start, as per usual, with a Sigma E40, and I am going to use the shade Droid. And I'm gonna run that all through my crease. So I'm kind of going for something vampy and cat eye shaped. And I'll use a deeper shade to start building out that cat eye shape. Right now, I just want to lay down a wash of light color in my crease that we will build on top of. This is an interesting palette because I think you can do a lot of neutral looks with it, but you can also really play up this silver shade and really use this metallic red for some fun things too. I find this one to be particularly versatile. All right, I've got that the way I want it to be in my crease. So now I'm gonna take this Wayne Goss 04 brush. It's got a pointed little tip, which I really like for drawing out this kind of cat eye shape. I find my eye shape a little bit difficult to work with because like my brow kind of like hangs over my lid a little bit. I don't have hooded eyes because you can still see my mobile lid when I'm looking straight ahead. But I do kind of have like a heavy brow bone. And this little pointed brush I find really helps me kind of draw this cat eye shape, which just I find gets sort of out of control quickly on me. So what I do to do this is I start stamping the color on the very outside of my eye, and then I kind of make sure I've got plenty on the end of my brush. It's all concentrated on the tip of the brush. I kind of lean my head back and start to extend that little line out and just kind of build from there. It's lots of building, but I'm just drawing a little pointed shape here at the end, and I'm just starting to build that up gradually. But it is a lot of like tilting my head back and kind of looking down. That helps me get the angle right and not pull this line too far down this way and turn my eyes down rather than turning them up, which is what I'm intending to do. I don't think I said the second shade that I'm using. The second deeper shade that I'm using is Y2K. So I'm using that slightly deeper shade to really intensify this outer corner here. Okay, so now I'm gonna do essentially the same thing, just with a sort of smaller version of the same brush. Not really smaller, this one's a bit more densely packed, so it doesn't disperse the color quite the same way. It sort of concentrates it more. And I'm gonna take this deepest shade, and this is Carbon, and I'm gonna focus that in the same place that we were doing the Y2K shade. So we're just doing exactly the same process, just deepening it up on this outer corner here. Okay, now I'm gonna go back in with my original E40 and a little bit more of, Droid. Sorry, I have these shade names written down because I threw away the little card ages ago because I got this palette before I was a YouTuber. And now I don't know any of the shade names, and I had to look them up and write them down on a piece of paper, so that's why I'm like looking over here trying to figure out what's what. Okay, I am pleased with this shape so far, so now I'm gonna take my little ring finger and I'm gonna go into Plasma and I'm gonna pat it all over the lid. Oh my God, this is beautiful. So I'm using my finger to just kind of pat it over this where the brown begins here, and I'll go back in with this, and this, by the way, is a Sonia G Crease Pro I'll go back in with no additional product, but just kind of start to blend that a little bit. And I'm gonna take this Wayne Goss brush again and a little bit of Y2K, and I'll blend that here, just so it's not like a bunch of silver just fading into nothing. Okay, that is really doing it for me. Okay, now I'm gonna take this Sony G brush in Carbon again. And this one does come to a small enough point for me to use it on my lower lash line, so that's just what I'm gonna do here. I'm just gonna really smoke out this lower lash line and kind of try to follow the angle that I created up here. Here's the dumb face and I'm leaning forward again. Okay, I need my hand mirror. Okay, all right, I've got a little bit of silver fallout here on my cheeks. I'm just gonna kind of brush that away. Yeah, I am pleased with how that is looking. Yep, that looks good to me. And now I am going to catch the other eye up. I'm also going to add some winged liner and a lip, and I'll be back in just a minute. This is the final look with the Futurism 2 Cyber Bronze palette from Kaleidos Makeup. And I super love this for like a glam look. I don't ordinarily do a red lip like with an eye this intense, but this is pretty fun. Although I will say this is not the best iteration of winged liner I've ever done, but that shit is hard. It's particularly hard for me because my eyes are not the same shape, so it's difficult. I love this palette. Again, I did have a little bit of fallout with the silver metallic shade, but the mattes were excellent. They blended super well. I, again, am just super pleased with how this palette performs. The lip that I paired it with is the Maybelline matte lipstick in Rich Ruby. Those are excellent lipsticks. I love them so much. They're so inexpensive and they are so good. And if you do if you use a lip liner and if you blot and if you powder a little bit and then really blot and get that down, that shit will stay all day long. With a little bit of help, the staying power on the Maybelline matte lipsticks is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm super pleased with this second look. And if you want to see the third and final look with the Astro Pink palette, you're in the right. All right, so the third and final look with the Futurism 3 palette called Astro Pink is coming right up. As per usual, Sigma E40, and I am going to use the shade Stardust and start with that in my crease. I will be using most of the shades in this palette for this look. I think, how many of, I've used, I think 3 or 4 from each palette, but I haven't used all 6. I'm not gonna use all 6 here, but it'll be damn close. And I'm also doing a thing that I'm not entirely sure is necessary or will work out. And I feel like I've done this look before, but I can't remember exactly what I did. Whatever, it's a risk. It'll be fun one way or the other. All right, so this shade is Stardust, and I'm running this all through my crease. It's kind of it's a matte mauvey sort of shade. It's a really pretty crease shade. Sprocket. I have a hell of a guard dog. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how that's going. Now I'm gonna take this Wayne Goss 17 brush and I'm going to use the shade Nebula, which is this matte cranberry sort of berry shade. And I'm gonna, so what I'm going for here is I'm gonna have a pretty drastically contrasting lid from what's going on in my crease. And I want it to be kind of a hint of pink sort of situation that fades down into a blue-purple situation. So, okay, so not a hint of pink. It's gonna be pretty damn pink. So I'm just layering up this nebulous shade until I've got an intensity that will work. And my mobile lid will be covered entirely, so I want to make sure that this extends beyond my mobile lid so that you can see the pink when it's all said and done. For me, that means being sure that my eye is relaxed and that I can see everything when my eye is relaxed. So I'm just building up that pink color. This is gonna be a pretty heavy look. All right, I'm gonna go back in with Stardust and blend out this edge on the top. Yep, and just going back in with the pink, building that up. All right, now I'm gonna take this little flat shader brush and I'm going to take the shade Cosmos, which is a matte black with little, okay, so I'm definitely getting some fallout. It's a matte black with micro shimmer in it. And I'll say this, Kaleidos is the only eyeshadow manufacturer, I don't know if they're a manufacturer, distributor anyway, who has ever managed to make a matte that actually has micro shimmer that shows up. Ordinarily, it doesn't even show up. So what I'm gonna do now is try to brush away this fallout and just hope for the best here. Oh, I'm gonna definitely have to, oh, that did not go well. I'll have to go back and fix that since my base is already done, and we'll just see how that goes. I'll figure something out. Okay, so I packed that black all over the lid. Now I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna take the shade Neptune, and I'm going, yeah, that's definitely what I was going for. Blacks as a base can really intensify shades, which is what I wanted to do here. I do think, however, that takes away a bit of the duochrominess from this blue shade when you pack it over a black. All right, now I'm just taking my Wayne Goss again with some more of that, what is this called? Nebula, I believe. Some more of that nebula shade into my crease. And I'm also gonna take this, let's see, I need a small blend. Yeah, I'm gonna take this little smaller blending brush and this black shade, and I'm also gonna work that into the crease a little bit. And that'll help also deepen up the nebula shade. So this black is nice and pigmented, but it does have a hell of a lot of fallout. So if you want to use this shade, I would highly recommend doing your eyes before you do your base. I did not do that here, and now I will have to go back and figure something out because it is, whoa. Okay, so I'm gonna go back with my finger and pat some more of the Neptune shade all over. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna catch the other eye up, and then I will come back and show you what I'm going to do about this fallout, which honestly I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do about this fallout yet, but it'll be something, and hopefully it'll be helpful for everyone to see. Okay, I'll be back with the other eye. All right, I have so much fallout, it is incredible. So I used a really fluffy brush to try to brush it away last time. I'm gonna go for a denser one. And I'm just gonna brush, and I know I'm like mostly just working it in, but like I don't have anything else to do at this point. Okay, so I am going to take some of my foundation, which is my L'Oreal Pro Glow, and I'm just gonna, no, I'm not. I am going to just take this off and touch up my under eye makeup. That's really all I can do. Okay, got some makeup remover here. And we're just gonna go take that off. And then we're just gonna touch up what we've got. I mean, this black fallout is everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Yeah, and it's like down to my nose and stuff. Okay, cool. Well, I guess you'll get to see some foundation after all. Okay. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my matcha antioxidant green tea priming moisturizer from Release. I'm gonna give that a little rub all around here. Yeah, this black just got every fucking where. Perfect. So I'm gonna take my foundation again, which is, again, if I didn't mention it, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. And I didn't take off all of my makeup. I'm just like sticking it right here on top. This is a kind of new territory for me, so we'll see how this goes, but I feel like I'm gonna be able to blend it all together fine. Under ordinary circumstances, I would probably not do things this way, but I'm having to make it up on the fly as I go, so that's good practice for everyone though, right? Okay, that's really not bad. Like, the texture doesn't seem awful or anything. Nothing's feeling overly dry or overly cakey. Okay, definitely will not be using any more of that black shadow because I have just redone my foundation and I'm absolutely not doing that again. So on to concealer, and I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. These are really some of my favorite complexion products. And I do think, since I've got so much going on the upper lash line, that I'm probably just gonna leave the lower lash line blank. I do that pretty frequently. I do it less on camera because, I don't know, I do think it looks a little bit naked and weird, but that's not the worst thing to me. All right, this I've got a little cleanup issue with. I cleaned up a little too vociferously. Now it needs blending. I think that's good. Okay, so let's do some more brows since those seem to have disappeared, or maybe I forgot to put them back on after I took the last look off. Entirely possible. I'm using my Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette, and I'm using the shade Chocolate Dipped, and I am running it through my brows with a little angled eyeliner brush, and that will be the extent. Oh yeah, got some more eyeshadow all over my forehead. This is great. Well, things went a bit awry in the third look, but I think we've mostly salvaged it, although I could use some more blush, bronzer, and highlight because it does look like that's gone. So we're just pretty much doing a whole full face for this third look since I got fallout everywhere. I'm taking my Wet n Wild Sunset Striptease bronzer, and I'm just gonna hit the perimeter of my face with that. I'm not trying to contour, I'm trying to bronze. I just want a little bit of color kind of on the outside edge of my face. I'm going to use MAC Glow Play Blush, which is what I've been using for this entire video. Here's my brush, because I really do believe this blush goes with everything, and I think I've done fairly drastically different looks here, so I think that's a pretty good proof of concept there. I love this blush. I got it in June, and I have had to like make myself use other things besides this. This is just one of my favorite blushes that I have ever come across, and it does truly go with everything. All right. A little bit more highlighter, and I'm going to use my Becca Moonstone, which I also find to be really neutral and goes with most other color complexion products. face is back to normal after that fallout disaster. Okay, so I will be back with lashes and lips so you can see the final look. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, this is the third and final look with the Futurism 3 palette in Astro Pink. There was just a huge problem with the amount of black fallout that I had. I really should have seen that coming. Most black shadows do have some fallout, and I was using a packing brush and patting it on, so it was just like, you know, raining down my face. So definitely if you plan on, none of the other shades in that palette gave me fallout, so if you plan on using that black shade, I would highly, highly recommend doing your foundation after you do your eyes. I did not do that, and I touched it up and it ended up being fine. But if you just want to save yourself that trouble, then I would say definitely do your eyes first, because there is a ton of fallout with that black shade. But I'm super pleased. This is my favorite look of the three I did, I think. I'm always a sucker for purples and blues and glitters and duochromes and that kind of stuff. So I really love this look. I paired it with ColourPop lip liner in, ooh, I've forgotten the name of this lip liner. Hold please. In Oh Snap. And I put a Fenty Gloss Bomb in Fussy on top of it, and it's a really nice neutral pinky kind of lip combo that's very comfortable on the lips, so I'm super pleased with how that turned out as well. So yeah, this is the final look. So thanks for sticking it out with me if you've made it through this entire video. If this sort of content is up your alley, if I seem like your cup of tea, then I hope you'll please consider subscribing. I would be thrilled to have you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.